Have you ever watched your child read the same line 3 times, rub their eyes and say the letters are moving? We know exactly how that feels. Today, we want to talk about visual dyslexia, what it can look like, why it may happen, and 5 practical things that helped our family. When our son started struggling with reading, we first thought he simply needed more practice. But the harder he tried, the more frustrated he became. We learned that reading problems are not always about intelligence or motivation. Sometimes the brain processes visual information differently. Understanding that changed the way we supported him. If stories like this help you feel less alone, please subscribe to our channel. We share our real experiences as parents of an autistic boy so that other families can benefit from what we have learned. As parents, one of the hardest moments is seeing your child work incredibly hard and still struggle. Our son wanted to read, he wanted to succeed, yet every reading session ended with frustration. Sometimes he skipped words, sometimes he read the same line twice, sometimes he mixed up letters that looked similar. At first, we believed he simply needed more time. Looking back, we wish we had understood sooner that something else was happening. First, it is important to explain what many people mean when they talk about visual dyslexia. Dyslexia itself is a complex learning difference. Scientists do not agree that there is one separate condition called visual dyslexia. However, many children experience visual processing difficulties together with dyslexia or other neurodevelopmental conditions, including autism. For some children, letters seem crowded. Tracking from one word to the next is difficult. Bright white paper may feel uncomfortable. The child is not making excuses. Their brain is simply processing visual information differently. For us, understanding this was a turning point. We stopped asking, "Why can't he read?" and started asking, "What is making reading harder today?" That small change completely changed our attitude. We also learned that autistic children may experience sensory processing differences. A busy page can feel overwhelming. Small distractions may pull attention away from the text. Eye movements may not be smooth. Fatigue can make everything worse. Every child is different, so there is never one solution for everyone. The first practical tip is to reduce visual overload. We printed worksheets with larger fonts. We increased the spacing between lines. We covered the rest of the page with a simple piece of paper so only one line was visible. Suddenly, reading became less stressful. You can try this today with any book. Place an index card below the current line and move it down after every sentence. The second tip is to experiment with different backgrounds and colors. White paper is not comfortable for every child. We tried cream paper, light blue paper, and soft yellow paper. We also tested colored overlays. None of these are miracle cures, but for our son, one color reduced eye strain noticeably. Instead of buying expensive products, print one page on different colored paper and ask your child which one feels easiest to read. The third tip is to shorten reading sessions. We used to expect 20 minutes every evening. That usually ended with tears. Instead, we switched to 5-minute sessions several times a day. We celebrated every small success. 5 successful minutes taught more than 20 frustrating ones. The fourth tip is to use the child's interests. Our son loves topics that match his special interests. So, instead of forcing random school texts, we found books and short articles connected to the things he already loved. His motivation increased immediately. When children care about the content, they often tolerate the challenge of reading much better. The fifth tip is to work with professionals while observing your own child carefully. An educational psychologist, speech and language therapist, occupational therapist, or developmental optometrist may each contribute useful information depending on your child's needs. At the same time, you are the person who sees your child every day. Keep a small notebook. Write down what makes reading easier and what makes it harder. Maybe mornings work better than evenings. Maybe larger text helps. Maybe quiet rooms improve concentration. Those observations become incredibly valuable. One thing that also helped us was changing the language we used at home. Instead of saying, read it again, we asked, what made this page difficult? Instead of focusing on mistakes, we praised effort. We wanted our son to know that struggling did not mean failing. Please remember that progress is rarely a straight line. Some days your child may read beautifully. The next day, everything may seem impossible again. That does not mean your previous work was wasted. Development often comes in small steps that are difficult to notice until you look back several months. Another lesson we learned is that confidence matters just as much as reading skills. If every reading session becomes a battle, children may begin to believe they are not smart enough. We worked hard to protect our son's confidence. We reminded him that many intelligent people have reading difficulties. We celebrated his strengths in problem solving, creativity, and memory. Reading was only one part of who he was. If you suspect your child has reading difficulties, do not blame yourself. You did not cause this. Your child is not lazy. The goal is not to force them to fit one learning style. The goal is to understand how they learn best and build on that. Looking back, the biggest improvement did not come from one magic technique. It came from combining many small changes, staying patient and adjusting our approach whenever something did not work. Those small changes slowly reduced frustration and made reading feel possible again. If our experience can save another family months of confusion, then sharing our story is worth it. Every child deserves support that respects the way their brain works. If this video was helpful, please subscribe to our channel. Together, we can build a community where parents of neurodivergent children support each other, share practical ideas, and remind one another that none of us has to walk this journey alone. One more thing we learned is to stay curious instead of becoming frustrated. Every week, we tried one small adjustment and watched the result. Sometimes it helped, sometimes it did not. We kept the helpful ideas and dropped the others. Over time, those tiny improvements added up. Reading became calmer, our son became more confident, and family evenings became less stressful. We hope our experience encourages you to keep experimenting with patience and kindness.